Okay. Charlie Higson, thanks so much for your time today. Chalke Valley History Festival, what do you make of it?
It's great. It's slightly mad.
Yeah?
Wandering around where, you know, I can see now a Napoleonic warrior wandering past a tank whilst a Nazi officer talks to a Viking. It's that's how it's been made. But there's been some extraordinary lineup of speakers and events, and unfortunately, all the ones I've wanted to go to have been on at the same time that I've had to do something else.
So have you immersed yourself in the living history?
I have. They were practicing for the Battle of Vittoria yesterday, which I'll miss this afternoon, and that was great.
Yeah.
Lots of gunfire, cannons. It was a little boy's dream.
Now today you've been part of the Chalke Valley History Festival Prize judging panel. Were you impressed, amazed, disappointed even by the...
Yes, I was. I was impressed, amazed and disappointed. No, I mean I judge a lot of sort of children's short story writing competitions, or this was first chapter of the book were. And you always say, yes, I'll do it. You know, I'm a children's writer, I suppose I should try and support this sort of thing. Yeah. With a slight feeling of dread of thinking, oh, have I really got to read stories written by children? They will be rubbish, let's face it. And every time I'm blown away by how good they are.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to choose the winner out of the three shortlisted in each category. They were all, such a high quality and so much better than anything that I wrote at that age. And I wrote a lot.
What sort of stuff did you write then when you were...
I wrote a lot of fantasy, science fiction, that kind of stuff, which you do as a teenager because you've got no actual experiences of your own, so it's much easier to make some up.
So what were you looking for when judging for...
Well, you can't be patronising, you can't think, oh, well, they're younger, so, we'll see if they can actually spell and put full stops in. Because,
punctuate.
They can punctuate far better than I can. I was just looking for a really good story that gripped me and was vivid and made me want to read more. And because, the quality of the writing across all of them was good, and I think the ones that we chose for the winners were those that just had that extra thing of really grabbing you. Yeah. You understand the character and you're immersed straight away into the story and you think, well, this is great, where does it go now? Yeah.
So what was the development for you from sort of writing this fantasy to writing, then comedy, and then now returning to sort of children's stuff? What's
how long
the journey?
Have you got? How long have you got the journey? Cool, it's like X Factor.
Yeah, I know, this is getting...
I started writing when I was about 10 just because I loved the idea that I could sit down with a pen and paper and make something up that hadn't existed before and tell stories that had never been told before. So I did it for my own amusement, and because I was really into fantasy as a teenager and then science fiction, I wrote those kind of books. And then I went to university and started writing sort of arty, student, postmodernist, unreadable stuff. And then I really got into crime fiction, and I started writing some crime books, which was eventually I had my first book published. That was a crime novel in the early 90s. Yeah. But it coincided with writing comedy for TV, just because I had friends who were doing it, and we got together and had a laugh. I found I worked really well with Paul Whitehouse, who I'd met at university. Sure. We started writing for Harry, who was a friend of ours, and it sort of snowballed. And that side of it took over. So having written 4 books for adults in the 90s, I concentrated on doing TV for about 10 years. And then I was approached out of the blue by the Ian Fleming estate, who asked if I was interested in writing some James Bond books for kids, which was like a sort of dream job for me.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And it was great to be offered a whole new career as a children's writer at my late stage of life.
Well, we just covered the whole life of Charlie Higson.
Yeah, it doesn't add up to much, does it? On that note, I was doing an event with some kids the other day. I write these horror books now, these zombie books, which is what I've been here talking about, was the history of horror. Something I studied at university was Gothic literature, and that whole idea of how our sort of modern monsters all originated from the summer of 1816, where Mary Shelley and Byron were all together and telling each other scary stories. Yeah. And out of that came Frankenstein and the first vampire story, which led to Dracula, and so our contemporary monsters all started there. So that's my historical talk.
Yeah, and you enjoyed giving that.
Yes, no, yeah. I did, but I was I was doing a similar talk to some school children recently, and I went to questions, and one kid stuck his hand out and he said, "I don't mean to be rude." Oh God, people only say that when they're going to say it's the rudest thing. He said, "Don't mean to be rude, but don't you think you could have done more with your life than writing stories about zombies?" At which I had a complete existential crisis and thought, "God, he's right. What a life! It's not anything for a grown man to do. I should have gone out and discovered continents or something." But no, I have had a great life as a writer, and it's fantastic to be able to come to something like this as a guest with my sticker.
With your sticker.
Which means I can go into anything I want and get free lunch.
With that, and talking of lunch, I'm going to let you go to lunch now,
Fantastic.
Charlie Higson. Thank you so much for your time.
It's been great talking to you.
Thank you, man.
Cheers.